I still remember the night I met Sarah like it was yesterday. It felt like something out of a movie. I was 30, working as a project manager for a mid-sized construction company in the Midwest, and she was 27. A marketing consultant with an infectious laugh and this radiant, almost magnetic presence. We met at a friend's housewarming party, one of those casual gatherings where you don't expect much beyond a few drinks and small talk. But when I saw her across the room, laughing with a group of friends, something about her pulled me in. We started talking, and it was like the rest of the room disappeared. We spent hours chatting about our lives, dreams, and little things like our favorite books and movies. She told me she'd always wanted to visit Italy, and I admitted I'd been too caught up in work to ever take a proper vacation. Within weeks, we were inseparable. We cooked dinners together, planned future trips, and even dreamed about getting a dog. Moving in together felt like the most natural next step. We found a cozy apartment, filled it with mismatched furniture, and I couldn't believe how lucky I was. Looking back, it felt so perfect, almost too perfect. About a year into our relationship, Sarah reconnected with someone she called her best friend from childhood, a guy named Alex. At first, I didn't think much of it. She told me they had grown up together in the same neighborhood, shared summers at the local pool, and even went to the same high school. When she talked about him, it was with that nostalgic tone people use when they talk about old friends, and I figured it was harmless. But as the weeks went by, I noticed their interactions getting more frequent: late-night texts, random coffee dates, and hours-long phone calls. They'd meet for drinks after work, take weekend yoga classes together, and he even helped her with work stuff at her apartment. Every time I brought it up, she'd smile and tell me I was overthinking things. "It's just Alex," she'd say with a little laugh, like I was being ridiculous. I wanted to believe her. I tried, but it got harder every time I saw the way her face lit up when his name popped up on her phone. I'd hear them laughing on the couch while I was in the next room, and my gut twisted in a way I couldn't ignore. When I finally sat her down and told her how I felt, she flipped it around on me, said I was being insecure, that I was trying to control her, that I didn't trust her. So I let it go. At least, I tried to. But the nagging feeling in my chest only grew stronger every time she left the house with a smile and came back hours later, her phone clutched tightly in her hand. I told myself to have faith. I told myself this was what love was: trust, even when it's hard. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. After that talk, things started to shift. Sarah wasn't just brushing off my concerns anymore. She was flipping them back on me, hard. Whenever I brought up how much time she spent with Alex, she'd let out this sharp laugh and say I was acting paranoid. She'd accuse me of being insecure, controlling, and toxic. "I can't believe you're trying to tell me who I can and can't be friends with," she'd say, her voice tight with frustration, like I was the unreasonable one. She started dropping phrases like, "You're suffocating me," and "This isn't healthy," and the worst part? I started believing her. I'd sit there after one of our fights, staring at the wall, wondering if I really was too much. Was I being that guy? The jealous, overbearing boyfriend who tries to control his girlfriend's life? Maybe I was the problem. I'd go back through our conversations in my head, trying to remember if I'd sounded angry, if I'd raised my voice, if I'd made her feel trapped. She'd say things like, "If you can't handle me having friends, maybe we're not right for each other." And I'd feel this cold panic set in, like I was about to lose the best thing that ever happened to me. The guilt was crushing. Every time I tried to stand up for how I felt, I'd end up apologizing for bringing it up at all. She had this way of making me feel like my concerns were small, ridiculous, even selfish. I started questioning everything: my instincts, my feelings, my worth. It was like I was being erased bit by bit. And I didn't even realize it was happening until I was drowning in doubt. It took me weeks to finally make the call. Every time I thought about hiring a private investigator, this wave of guilt would crash over me. What kind of man does that? What kind of partner spies on the person he loves? It felt like a betrayal of trust, even though a part of me already knew that trust was long gone. But the nights of her slipping out for a quick coffee and coming back hours later, the text she'd hide when I walked into the room, I couldn't ignore it anymore. My gut was screaming, and for once, I decided to listen. The day the PI started following her, I was a mess, pacing around the house, jumping every time my phone buzzed, wondering what he would find, or worse, hoping he wouldn't find anything at all. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe she really was just catching up with an old friend. Maybe I was the toxic one, just like she said. But then the photos started coming in. The first day, the investigator sent me pictures of them, sitting together at a coffee shop too close for comfort, Alex leaning in, hand brushing her arm as she laughed. That night, they walked side by side down the street, his hand on the small of her back as they went into her apartment building. The second day, they were at a quiet restaurant, candlelit table, shared dessert, then a walk in the park, holding hands, a soft kiss under a streetlight that made my stomach drop. I stared at the pictures for what felt like hours, the shock hitting me like a freight train. It was all there. Undeniable proof of everything I didn't want to believe, but I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just sat there, numb, feeling like the floor had been ripped out from under me. I had asked for the truth, and now I had it. When the detective called that afternoon, his voice was quiet, almost hesitant. "They're at a hotel downtown," he said. My hands went cold. My breath caught in my throat. It felt like my worst nightmare was no longer just a fear, it was happening. Right now, in real time. I sat in silence for a minute, the weight of it all sinking in. Then, something inside me snapped into focus. No more guessing, no more doubts. I called my buddy Dave, told him I needed a second set of eyes, and we got in the car. The drive there felt like a blur, my pulse thundering in my ears. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely grip the wheel. Dave kept glancing at me, saying nothing, just nodding in quiet support. We parked a block away, and I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm in my chest. My body was buzzing with adrenaline, but my mind was ice cold. I wasn't going to scream or throw punches. I just wanted the truth laid bare. I wanted to see it for myself. We walked into the hotel, straight to the front desk, where the detective had told me the room number. I stood in front of the door for a moment, listening. Laughter, muffled voices, my heart hammered against my ribs, but I kept my hands steady. I knocked 3 sharp raps. The voices stopped. For a second, there was nothing. Then I heard a shuffle, a hushed whisper. The door opened a crack, and there she was, Sarah, in a hotel robe, hair tousled, a look of pure panic flashing across her face. Behind her, Alex stood shirtless, frozen like a deer in headlights. I didn't yell. I didn't ask why. I just looked her in the eyes and let the silence hang. That moment, that cold, heavy stillness, it said everything. "I know everything," I said, voice steady, cold. The texts, the coffee dates, the late nights, the kissing under the streetlight, the dinner, and now this. I pulled out my phone, scrolled to the folder of photos the PI had sent me, and held it up. The images stared back at her and Alex, hand in hand, laughing. Lips locked in the dim glow of the park. Her face crumpled instantly, the color draining from her cheeks. She started talking fast, her words tumbling over each other. It wasn't like that. It just happened. I didn't mean to. I swear, it was a mistake. "I love you. Please, let's talk about this. We can fix it." But I didn't let her. "No," I said, voice sharp, cutting through her babble. "This is over. You're leaving. Pack your things, and get out." Her tears flowed freely now, sobs racking her body. As she begged, actually begged, me to give her another chance, she fell to her knees, clutching at my hand like I was the only thing keeping her from drowning. But I just looked down at her, detached, like I was watching a movie I'd already seen too many times. Even as she wailed and pleaded, even as her voice cracked, and she tried to make it my fault. "You pushed me away. You didn't make me feel loved." I didn't flinch. Dave stood nearby, silent, arms crossed, a quiet wall of support. I turned to leave, pausing only once to say, "I don't need to hear your excuses. I've seen enough." Then I walked out, leaving her behind in that dimly lit hotel room, her sobs fading as the door clicked shut behind me. After I ended things, the backlash came fast. Sarah's friends and even her family flooded social media with posts painting me as the villain. They called me controlling, obsessive, even abusive. For hiring a PI, she threatened to sue, claiming I invaded her privacy. But I was ready. I had a lawyer draft a response, reminding her of the legalities. No privacy was breached, no laws were broken. Then the truth started coming out. Her sister reached out, shocked after seeing the photos. Mutual friends who once supported her started backing off. Realizing who she really was, her carefully curated image fell apart. I felt a strange mix of relief and exhaustion. I wasn't angry anymore, just done. I finally saw the situation for what it was and knew I had made the right call. The weeks after the breakup felt like a fog lifting. I focused on myself, work, hobbies, reconnecting with friends. My family showed up for me in ways I never expected. Slowly, the guilt faded, and I saw the truth. Love without trust is a cage. If your instincts whisper, listen. Gaslighting isn't love, it's control. I learned that the hard way. Sometimes you lose the love of your life and find yourself